No code base is perfect. I'm sure engineers tell you that all the time. Even the most ideal code base for one team might cause big troubles for another one, or it might even cause troubles for the team that had it as soon as those requirements really sort of change and suddenly need to deliver something new. I'm sure you've seen the faces that teams make when they look at code together. No, yeah, there's always something wrong with code. But sometimes they look at the code and they're screaming. A number of times I've asked myself the question, can I help this team understand and navigate this complexity they're finding that they're hitting? A couple of examples. Once I worked with a team that was taking over a code base from another one. Those team was burnt out. They brought a new consultancy team in and they need to get quick grip and start delivering, but all this code was unknown to them. Another time, a very large team was struggling to deliver on a code base of what they built. There was 50 people and they built this code, but a year and a half later, they really didn't know what they owned as a collective. There were silos here and there and gaps in knowledge across the team. And then more recently, the team I work with want to get a view of the code that adopted a year earlier. After a year, what have they learned? What have they seen? So each time, I've helped the team map out their code, assessing what's great, what's a little stinky. And over a few iterations, they become pirate maps. So I feel that pirate maps are a great way to draw out code bases so the group can see what's going on, using the metaphors of where the dragons are and where the gold's buried. Old maps had mystical creatures and symbols to represent the real dangers that were existing when people tried to navigate around those areas. They didn't understand what was going on. You know, there were tides and storms and things like that, but they wanted to make sure people knew to avoid these things. And I like to use these metaphors. So I get a communal view of where this code gives us, kind of collect the communal view of where the code gives bad feelings, where things don't work. The other teams may not know why, just as the cartographers didn't know why, but let people know where they'll run aground or where they'll need a good wind to get through that gap. It's not about deep analysis. It's a chance to map out what's known and what's unknown. But I've always found it worth calling out the place in the code that it'd be good to highlight and use as examples the buried treasure that's buried right at the deep into the code. Some great examples that people would do good to look at and write code more like that. So I've helped build this code base in many ways. Sometimes I've used interviews and chats and collect data points on spreadsheets, assembled, assimilated, but I much prefer getting people in the room, real or virtual, and asking where be the dragons. Here's one I did with a team a month ago. I've sort of anonymized it, removed all the kind of trade secrets, but a bit tidy as well, but I can talk through it a little bit. So I gave the team a blank sheet of paper with the key, the dragons, the gold, the thoughts. I gave them some boxes and asked them first to sketch out their space. What do they want to talk about? After that, I asked them to tell me what's been good and bad working with that code bases. What would they advise other people who come to the code base, or what would they want to advise themselves not to do next time? Hopefully you can see this library feels very positive. It's small and simple, they said. It's nice. This library, it's clearly not so good. It's got lots of problems. So if I was going to maybe fix some technical debt, I might find out, is it doing too much? Well, it says it's doing too many jobs. So yeah, the engineers know it's doing too much. Can we find a way of splitting it up? Every time we work with code that uses that library, it's going to be more costly. It's going to be, the team's going to come up against some problems, mainly to prepare themselves. And the two services, it's more of a mixed bag, which makes sense. There's some good stuff going on. It's got tests, the quick, consistent, worth calling that out and saying, look, if you want good, quick, consistent tests, that's the place to look. Copy that if you're going to copy something. But there's some thoughts. There's a mix of technologies. And over here, they like the code, but they don't like the tests. That's really worth knowing. I don't want to walk around and spend on too long because it's just a quick 5-minute lightning talk. There's lots of value in the map and how it's then used by the team. Sometimes, as an example, you can know when the work can be tough. Sometimes I've seen teams use it when, if it's a team that builds estimations, they might use a map to go, oh, wait a minute, which bits of code we're going to touch? We're going to touch that bit, and that bit. That's a really big story. We're going to find some way to make that smaller. We're never going to deliver that in the time we want to deliver it. Maybe they can plan out some positive refactoring before they start that work. I've seen saying, well, talk about where's the good standards in the code base. So we're doing a new service. Well, which service is good? Where are we going to look for a copy? Or they could plan to pay down technical debt. Maybe they want to say, well, we got a week and we've got no new requirements. We've got a quiet time. It's not peak. Let's go and make the code a bit better for us in the future. But it's not just that. Getting a group of engineers in a room and sharing the conversations and that storytelling they tell each other is really valuable. The map gets forgotten about. The unconscious collective knowledge the team has gathered has been strengthened. They've got the stories that hold them together. They'll remember the story when they come to touch that code again. And, oh, well, Bill said he really knew about that code. Get to Bill, come and pair with me. So that's hopefully around about 4 or 5 minutes. So one thing I'd like to know is, I've made this up over the last 10 years. It's sort of developed as a tool I got in my toolbox. I'm sure other people have made up other ways of solving this problem.